Loose Ends Number 1. Written by Jason Latour, art by Chris Brunner, and colors by Rico Renzi. You ever just read a comic and want to see it as a movie? That's this issue in a nutshell. Quick premise. Sonny is a former soldier who gets roped back into the drug running business for cash to pay child support. The even shorter form is that he goes to see his baby mama at work, which is this backcountry bar, and he sort of stops a rape, but stray fire leads to a giant mess that he and another woman has to run from. There's also stuff with the gang side of things, but this is honestly a series you need to check out, so I really don't want to say a lot about the plot. Like I said in the opener, this is one of those comics that plays out like a great screenplay turned into a comic. Actually, I think I'll go on a small rant about how it has actually become so refreshing to me when I see these sorts of comics. Ones where there's nothing truly outlandish or even attempts to be surreal takes on the world, but are as straightforward, at least in presentation, that you can see play out in your head. And I mean this in the best way. Latour makes a southern crime drama in the key of Natural Born Killers or true romance. It's almost a bad comparison, but it's, just for lack of a better term, plays that way in the movie in my mind when I read this. And in large part it is due to the writing, which ultimately sets up who these characters are without needing to exposition dump. We learn that Sonny has a kid naturally. We learn about his time in the Middle East, or at least that's where I assume he was when they talk about him being in the desert. Realistically divulged through banter and interaction. Even when Sonny goes to see his baby mama to give her some cash, it plays out just so damn well that every panel, being just frames, they roll through with this fluidity to make it less of a read, and more of just leaning back and picturing the story laid out. Of course, that's not to say the art hurts his book either. In fact, there's only so many ways I can say this without getting really repetitive. This is my favorite kind of art style. I finally realized what it reminds me of. It's a culmination of both an old school grindhouse look that really adds an atmosphere of not necessarily sleaze, but definitely a grunge to it that enhances the sketchy nature of the boondock southern feel, which is apt for this book. Actually reminds me of the place I grew up in, North Carolina, that way. So before I totally blather on, my verdict for this book is pretty simple. It's a fantastic crime drama with a southern edge and art to match. So my verdict is, buy it. Buy it means that this book is totally worth every penny and should definitely be a series you follow throughout. But that's the end of this episode of First Issue Now. If you agree with me that this was a pretty awesome read, or if you felt that it fell flat, leave a comment below. Don't forget to check out my other channels, A Comic a Day, where me and a special guest are wrapping up Dark Tower month, and ComicSins, where I tally the sins and wins of a random comic. Like the Archivist on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and please pledge to our Patreon for exclusive content. And as always, stay golden, Inklings.